All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 48th episode of The Get Down. My name is Cream.
Gary W. here.
Another episode. We have some really good topics this time around. So I think we should just jump right into it. What do you think about that?
We've had a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with booking and just DJs in general, and then obviously life and DJ management on our own end and all types of stuff. So yeah, there's always we knew that there'd be a lot to talk about once we started to get back in full swing, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, this episode, everything we're going to talk about today is either something that's come up in our own lives or in a very close DJ friend of ours or one of the Get Down DJs that we've had to coach them through or, ask for help in certain situations. So I think this is going to be a great episode. And so let's do it.
It's really funny. So this past weekend, you struggled with something that I was also struggling with, and I didn't know that until 7 minutes ago when you said this should be a topic. And it was kind of how to open the room, and kind of remembering how to program your night. And then because places are so crowded so early right now, you kind of want to start to unload a little bit at 10:30, 10:45, and you really know you should be holding back. The psychology of this, though, for me is that I don't want the people to walk out the door and go somewhere else, right? So in particular, Saturday night, I didn't want them walking out the door and going to your venue because we were playing next door to each other.
Yeah.
And so I found myself dabbling into bigger tracks earlier to show people that, first of all, I hadn't played in that room for 2 years. So to show people that I know what I'm doing. This is kind of the avenue we're going to go down for parts of the night, to kind of build a trust with the crowd, right?
Yeah.
On the flip side of that is at your venue, it was more or less I don't want to burn tracks too early. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And listen, I'm not DJing every weekend right now. So it's when I think of a track, I want to go play it because I know myself. I forget about tracks.
Yeah.
And what happens is when I think of one track and I bank it away, it winds up spiraling into losing. There's always 2 to 4 tracks that are attached to one track, I would say, the ones that I'm thinking of.
You have a chain of songs that you can go to in some fashion.
I've noticed in the past when I would go into my history that I'm wow, at this part of the night, I wanted to play that song. I never played it. And then the other subsequent 4 songs that I would have played also got lost for the night.
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking about that stuff and I'm okay, well, it's 10:45 and there's a bigger song that even might be older that I know garners a reaction, I went for it this weekend, and I did it on Friday night and I did it on Saturday as well. I don't think it was as effective during my Saturday set because I wasn't as familiar with the room. So it makes it a little more difficult. So I don't know, talk me through how, what was going on in your set.
So this is something I've been thinking about for the last couple of weeks, working heavily, and working to very busy rooms. So it literally came across to my mind on Thursday because Tally Ho was jam-packed busy by 10:15. And it's easy to want to go to big records when you have that many people in front of you. And I think we got really used to it during the pandemic because people had reservations. They were going to be there for a set period of time. And you were just banging people for 3 or 4 hours for however long the reservation was, because I knew that after 3 hours, the room was going to reset. They were going to kick everybody out and put a whole new group of people in the room.
Right.
So the way the night was formatted was very different, and people's options were much more limited, Whereas now I think that it's really important to remember that you need to format your night and you need to open the room and you need to prep for this. So you need to go create a folder that from, let's say, if you start at 9 o'clock and your venue closes at whatever, if you start at 10 and they close at 3, that at 11 o'clock, you're not playing heaters. that you still need, you can
Yeah.
still play really good songs and stuff that has energy and can get people dancing, but no new stuff. You know, you got to save that stuff so people hang around and have a reason to stay. So go
Yeah.
back a couple years, go 3 years back, 4 years back, 5 years back, look at some of your history and some of your folders and create a folder of stuff that you can play, that vocals people know, stuff that just works in the venues that you're playing. And don't go to those early tracks before 11:30, let's say, or whatever time you know that you need to hold out on.
You know, it's kind of funny. I kind of lost. I have an openers folder for each year, right? Openers for everything. Like there's like a house openers, of like a pop house openers. And I kind of lost that on Friday and Saturday night. You know, when I went to it Sunday, when there was, you know, very limited amount of people there. And
Yeah.
well, I was like, okay, I want to play with energy, but not crazy big.
Yeah.
And that stuff all worked beautifully for Sunday. And then I'm like, well, what was I thinking? Where was this on Friday and Saturday
Right.
night?
You have to live through it and realize like, oh, I remember why I built this folder out to like remember to go back to it. So the next time you're here and playing, you're going to use that folder, I'm sure, the first night you play.
Yeah. My Friday set or Thursday set over there is working out the rust for an hour, you know? And that's the huge disadvantage of not playing all the time and only playing every 3 weeks.
I think one other thing that a point that I really want to make is, you know, when it is 10:15, 10:30, 10:45, and you have a crowd in front of you, they don't have to be raging dancing. Like they should be like, you should see those subtle cues, right? The head nods, maybe a couple people are dancing, people singing, like voicing the lyrics, whatever it is, rapping this song. You want people still spending money hanging out at the bar and getting drunk so that when you are ready to go, the bar's made some money, they're a little drunk, and they're ready to then go and rock a dance floor. And when you get on the mic and ask people to put their hands up or make noise, they're ready to do it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Though that is the time. That's where the most money is spent in a night. It's not at midnight and on. Right?
Oh, it's most, from 10 to 12, right? 10:30 to 12.
That people are standing at the bar waiting for drinks. And that's when it's 2 and 3 deep and your dance floor is thinner. And you're right. Like that's the time where you're going to stand there and you're going to prime the crowd. Like you're warming the crowd up. Like you don't have to crush them, you know?
Yeah, right.
So
before pandemic too, I think like some of the places we were working at were getting saturated and a little like not played out, but just stuff was starting later and later and later, so that like you didn't really have a big crowd to open the room. It would just be 11:30 and all of a sudden there'd be a mad rush and it's go time kind of thing. So I think even right before pandemic, 6 months, 10 months, a year, like there wasn't as much opening happening at all.
Right. Well, and now it's the floodgates are open from Jump Street because
everything's
everybody's so excited to be out. You might see that fade in time where it comes back to, you know, it gets busier at 11.
Yeah.
You know, 10:45.
And you guys know your venues, right? So there's no like set time where you need to realize, okay, let's transition from opening to go time. You just have to know that, or you have to have the feel for that. And as younger DJs, it's easier said than done. And it's something that comes with experience, but you'll know, like you'll feel those cues and you'll feel the energy and you'll know that, all right, it's now time to go.
Well, but there are set times in certain places as you get to know venues, right? Like
absolutely. I just mean like a default time. It's different for every market, every venue.
Yes, absolutely. But I'm saying like if you're a regular at a place and you're there every week, like you can you start to understand, you know, where those times are, and it makes your job a lot easier.
Yeah.
But
we're figuring that out right now still.
That's what I'm saying. But because everything is reset, we're still trying to figure out where and when and how. So, you know, you have to be patient and take notes every time you're playing and figure out what works at those times and just adjust.
Yeah.
You have to adjust.
Listen,
on the fly.
Learning how to play this opening set is the most valuable thing that you can learn to do. So take some time, prep it, practice, you know, put those folders together and focus on doing a really good job during this opening time. And I guarantee you, your DJ sets are going to work better the crowd's going to be happier. You're going to get better bookings. And DJs who are looking for people to come and play with them are going to be way more likely to want to book you if you know how to open a room. So,
yeah, my opening set, and this goes for everybody. If you had a smooth opening set and it really went off well, it usually dictates the rest of the night. You're usually going to have a killer because it just makes it easier. Like your peak stuff's going to sound better because you set it up properly. And then like the tail end of your night is going to be super easy because you know, now you knocked it out of the park for opening, you crushed your peak set. And then now you have the crowd like this.
Right. Then you can do whatever you want.
Now you're allowed to do whatever you want. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So speaking of being like a regular at a place, being a resident, we've seen we see a lot of movement right now in our market, in the Jersey market, because people go out to Long Island, people go down the shore. And then I feel like Hoboken, Jersey City area, North Jersey area, and New York City gets kind of left out on an island, and the people don't really want to stick around to play there because the crowds might be a little smaller. We have a little bit more of a crowd up there than we normally would currently, right? Due to the climate. But what would you say to those DJs that are, you know, you have these younger guys that aren't as experienced in dealing with venues? What do you say to them when they're being enticed by those bigger gigs that are away outside of their market? It's very easy to kind of start to turn your back on your home market, right? When these bigger gigs come up. So what kind of advice would you give those guys?
Yeah. So this is another really tough situation, right? Because the goal of a lot of DJs is to grow beyond your market and go travel and play the bigger venues and go down the shore and go to Atlantic City and go to New York or wherever it might be, right? And you're entitled to want to do that, and you should try to do that. But you have to remember that your home market is what's going to pay the bills, right? Unless you become, you know, the Beat Breakers of the world, the 5 and Deluxes, the guys that are traveling every weekend to 2 or 3 or 4 markets, until you get to that point, you still have to take care of your home market. And if that's playing a gig that maybe is not as attractive as another gig down the shore or in another area, like sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, because we talked about this in the past, right? Our market is prime time for 8 to 10 months, let's say 9 months. These other markets are only good for 3 months, right? Yeah. So if you're not taking care of the markets that take care of you for the majority of the other time when they need help, right? Booking DJs right now is tough. There's so many gigs.
There are a lot.
And
there are a lot.
Certain venues, like, they need you to be in there at least once, right? Maybe twice a month. And I think it's really important to take care of those venues that have taken care of you during the pandemic when there were not a lot of gigs, paying you the right amount of money, booking you consistently, and that are also going to take care of you in the fall when it's madness here again.
Right. That, I think we all become short-sighted. That's first and foremost, right? And to have somebody to bounce situations off of is paramount. We always say that. And especially if you're younger right now and you're, like I said, you're hungry and you're on the come up and you're really starting to hit these bigger gigs, like, it's really easy to forget, hey, this guy took care of me, or this venue took care of me for 8 months when there wasn't a ton happening, or they booked me every Saturday afternoon and Sunday night or whatever it might have been. And it's like, those were really fun gigs and amazing gigs. And now I'm being enticed by something else that looks a lot better because those gigs are a little slower. You know, the one thing I learned very early on when I was working as a promoter is that, like, bookers and promoters never forget, ever. It's like insane. It's insane. Like, if you felt like you were slighted once or twice, somebody's always going to remember that. Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, he took care of me. Like, I was taking care of him. And then when I needed a favor, he wasn't there or she wasn't there. And it's something that people don't forget about. And you don't want to mess your money up that way. So always do the right thing. But I'm not saying you got to be back every weekend and do, like, you know, back in a neutral place every weekend. But, like, at least scratch that booker's back or that venue's back once or twice a month, like you said. Yeah. At least give them some love. Like, that's got to be first and
Yeah.
foremost in your mind.
You got to be a little strategic about how you're doing your bookings, right? Like who you hit up first, what order of the people you hit up first. You kind of have to hit some of the bigger people first, the most important gigs. You hit those first, right? Then maybe you hit a couple of the venues that you know you have to take care of. Like for me, I know I am going to be in Ashford twice a month because they've taken care of me. That's a really important account for us. I have a great time when I play there, and I want to do right by the owners at that venue.
Right.
So I make sure no matter what, I have 2 gigs there every month, period. And if that means I don't get to take something that I really want to take that maybe is the same money, sometimes I have to bite the bullet. And it's a little different for us because we run a business where we have these relationships with venues. But for a regular DJ, like, again, even though they might not be like a booker or a management company, like they're going to remember if you don't do right by them.
Right. You were good at this prior to Get Down.
Yeah.
You were really good at balancing your, let's call it portfolio, your calendar every year. And it was always fair and balanced. And that's why you grew in the way that you did.
Yeah.
And so quickly, because those guys that trusted you, would put you on, and they knew they can count on you to be there once a month. Right.
Yeah.
And they would always have you back. And there was never like you never really burnt a bridge, right? As we always say.
Yeah.
And that's and I understand right now it's a little more difficult at this point because not everybody has their feet under them yet. Like there isn't this set schedule. There isn't this every Thursday party yet.
And everything's happening very last minute where bookings are happening like a couple weeks out sometimes.
Right.
Or a big venue like Atlantic City is opening up and they let you know, hey, we're opening in 2 weeks. I need you on July 4th weekend kind of thing.
Right. No,
oh shit, what do I do?
I think that, so in fairness, not only do the DJs have to be understanding, but I think the bookers also and the venues need to also be understanding that this is different and there is a different pace a lot of stuff is happening fast. The last 3 weeks have been like crazy with the amount of gigs that are starting to set off in July. And guys, if you think that this is just going to stop in July or August, like wait until September hits and it's going to be like an avalanche of gigs.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see a lot of major nightclubs outside of the Jersey Shore open up. Like there's plenty of big rooms that are still not open yet and that aren't going to, they're not going to open until probably mid-August into the fall. So we
know some.
Right. So think ahead that like when this happens, how am I going to handle the situation? And how am I going to be fair all around? That's
a good way to think about this. And this was something that I started doing. I created a list, right? What are the venues that I play at relatively consistently? And I rank them in importance, right? Like what's my number one venue that I really want to work at that pays me a lot of money and is high profile? Like what are the couple gigs? Those are at the top. When I sit down in the second week of a month to plan for my next month, those are the venues that I hit up first, right? And I lock those dates in. Then you go to the next tier. All right, what's the next group of venues, 2, 3, 4 venues that I work at regularly that maybe are local gigs and maybe don't pay as much as that top tier, but are still important to me. Maybe those are the venues that have been booking me for a long time. I need to take care of them. Then you hit those people up. And then you start to build your schedule and you have, all right, now I have 2 or 3 dates left. Now I could either go do some high profile gig that doesn't necessarily pay a lot of money. I can take something that might be a little below my rate that I'll just take, or I can leave stuff open to network, or maybe something comes through and I could say, hey, these are the 2 dates I have open. And that's how I think about my scheduling. And I think you guys have to be very strategic about how you now schedule out your month, because there are a lot of gigs and there are a lot of options and there's a lot of stuff happening. So you got to prepare for your scheduling as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of the guys that were active throughout quarantine and then active throughout, the time when there were a lot of restrictions and whatnot are really getting banged over the head, being asked to play in a lot of places. Like it's not shocking to me, but it's nice to hear from certainly from our guys that are being asked outside of Get Down DJ group gigs. It's nice to hear, but it's like some of them are overwhelmed. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, like, especially when you're quite literally going like 0 to 100, like in a very short amount of time.
We've tripled our bookings in 2 months.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, and that's just us. And then I know like our top tier guys who we're having trouble booking sometimes, like they have to feel a little overwhelmed. And I don't envy them for it. I mean, it's a great problem to have, but you know, just I hope they handle it the correct way. And that's kind of why we're talking about it.
I think the other thing that we all have to, I just want to put out there real quick is it's okay to say no to stuff. You don't have to say yes to everything, right? Like, especially if it's below what you normally get paid, or if it's a longer set than you really want to do for the money. If it's if it's 3 hours to drive somewhere, like you don't have to say yes to that stuff. And
yeah.
You know, saying no might not get you asked back, but is that a place that you really want to work anyway? Like, these are things you have to think about. You have to say no to things that aren't the right opportunities so that you can say yes to the right opportunities. And just remember that it's so hard to do. Believe me, it's taken me 10 years to even get remotely okay at that.
Yeah, no, I mean, just being cognizant and being just having that knowledge in the back of your head will be hugely beneficial to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
man, so like we're talking about like scheduling and figuring out how to make all this stuff work with all of these gigs and all this other responsibility and stuff that we are now thinking about. I think it's important to bring up that our time management and our life management is something that we still have to be cognizant of, because listen, not for nothing, being a DJ and working this many hours and these tough hours and drinking is hard, right? And it's hard to juggle all the aspects of your life and do it well.
Yeah. I mean, so this weekend's a really good example of how difficult our jobs can be. You know, like one of our guys, Tone, big shout out to Tone, happy birthday to Tone, had a after hours party. And like, it was like, okay, want to go to this. It's now Saturday night going into Sunday morning. And it's like, I'm going to try to going to show face. And then you're going to wind up being out till like all hours of the morning and then have to bounce back in 3 or 4 hours and then go and DJ again, you know?
Yeah. Your weekend was crazy.
And that's like it's a hard thing to do, but like you're going to battle through it because listen, that's part of your job. You're working only Thursday to Sunday, and you're going to, just like every other job that you might have Monday to Friday, you're going to power through it, get it done, and then figure it out afterwards. But you can't do it in a way that's going to negatively affect your life, right? You still need to have a decently healthy lifestyle outside of maybe those 3 days out of the week, because we know that it's not really in the cards all the time that to eat healthy while you're running to 6 gigs in 3 days.
You know how many times I've eaten in my car while driving from one gig to the next in the last month? Pretty much every weekend, twice a weekend. It sucks. It's awful.
Because if you're doubling up, like you're never going home.
This weekend, if I wanted to, I have a Wednesday corporate event in the city, double Thursday, double Friday, double Saturday, double Sunday. If I wanted to, I have to say no to some of this stuff. So I have, but.
Right. We talked about that. And that's a life management decision. Right?
I have to. I'm going to die. I will be sick by Monday.
We know that. You might not make it to Sunday.
That's it.
You'd be bedridden Sunday and we'd be finding you coverage last minute. And then we're going to be like, well, we told you so. But what I have found over the years, you know, obviously I was working 7 days a week for a long, long time, for many, many years. And setting up your schedule in a way where you're making time for your family and you're making time for your friends. And then you're also doing the proper work stuff. And then self-care obviously is hugely important. Mental health is a huge thing right now, obviously, with everything that we've just gone through, and now it's full swing back. You really need to be aware of how you got to check in with yourself once in a while. Right.
Yeah.
And I think start your mental health, and then you can worry about your physical health and everything else. right? And if your physical health helps your mental health and you need to be in the gym, stuff like that, you have to know yourself.
Right.
And then obviously, a lot of guys have relationships, girlfriends and whatnot. And girls who are DJing have their boyfriends, significant others. And that's, there's going to be a strain there because you're getting pulled in so many directions. Finding a proper balance is very, very hard, right? I think being very open with your significant other is a huge thing. Just outside of DJing too, but letting them know, like, this is my job, because not everybody we talk about this all the time. Not everybody looks at our job like a job.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're out partying, you're drinking, yada, yada, yada. And it's usually your significant other that's like, oh, well, that's it. You're in a fun job. That's not really a job,
Right.
And you have to check in once in a while and be like, listen, I do this for a living and this is what it is. I just think that helps. It has always helped me just to be really open about how important DJing is and how it is handled as a business. But I think it's starting with yourself and starting with your scheduling and trying to figure out what works.
Yeah.
And
your
what
sleep,
doesn't work.
Making sure you're getting enough sleep, right? Trying to eat semi-healthy and at least getting some fruits and vegetables and vitamins into your system, right?
Yeah.
Like that stuff's really important. That's like the core of being okay to be able to do all this other stuff.
That's all energy at the end of the day, right?
Right.
Like, listen, we all can function to a degree off coffee and alcohol, but like you
hit a wall at some point.
You hit a wall at some point. You got to give your body some things that it needs, but checking in and knowing yourself is a huge part of that, of the life management aspect of this. And it's going to just only get more difficult as you pile on more work, and we all are going to.
Yeah. I think something that I really focus on when I'm doing my scheduling for DJing, I check in with my family. I check in with my close friends who I want to make sure I carve time out to spend time with, right? Obviously, I'm checking in with my girlfriend because I think communicating with them and getting stuff in your calendar that you could work around. Like, I'll take off on a Saturday if I know it's my friend's kid's birthday or something, or we want to go out to dinner with the boys. Like, I won't do a double. I'll work a day shift and then take off at night so I can still go do some of that stuff. But you need to check in. You need to do it ahead of time because the way our schedules are, you can't really do things last minute, right?
No,
I have it in my calendar, like, all right, these are the days that I know that I'm off, my girlfriend's off. So let's make sure we put something in the calendar. We know we're spending time cooking dinner together or going out to dinner or whatever you enjoy doing with your significant other, right?
Right. You're more calendar driven than I am.
Yeah.
Obviously. What I find is I get on a schedule. I think that works out better for me. So if I knew back in the day, I used to know okay, I'm going to work every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have a gap between my two works. I can go hang out with my parents and have dinner with them there.
Right.
On Friday and try to do that every Friday. And then Saturday, I have a gap here. I can go hang out with my friends or line up drinks with my friends there or invite them out to the first gig, hang out in between and just balance it in that regard. You know? I think something that people have a hard time with is that they're like, well, I have to work. They have in their head that they have to work. I'm not afforded the financial flexibility to say no to a gig. And I know that I'm going to be tired and I know I'm going to be cranky and it might affect my set, but I need to do it because I need the money. What do you say to that?
I mean, there's a time where you just have to grind it out and just do it,
Yeah.
And you say listen, I haven't made money for 16 months. Like the first 4 months of being back, I'm going to take as many gigs as possible. But then after those 4 months, I'm going to take a week vacation where I don't do a single thing. I turn my phone off and I go do something I enjoy doing or go to a place I enjoy going to, or just staying home and going to the beach or going to hike or doing whatever you like to do, right? Going to the gym, just resetting. I need that reset period.
That's something that when I always knew that I had summers off so I could really veg out a little bit during the day, during the summer. But because at one point I was doing 100 days of work in a row. So I was doing insane. From October to January and it would be 100 in a row. But I knew at the end of that 100 days, I was going to have a lot of money in the bank, and I was going to be able to go on a 1.5, 2 week trip. Right. And that was the reset period. And
Yeah.
was I going to lose money in those 2 weeks? Cause I'm going to take 2 weekends off. Yeah, absolutely. But you just crushed yourself for 100 days. So you deserve that at least, you know? And then after that, there would be like intermittent I would never let it get to 100 days where I didn't have a trip booked, let's say to Florida, you know, and we would make that happen every 90 days.
Yeah.
You know, so giving yourself those times off and knowing when they are is important. You have something to look forward to, you have something to work toward. And I think that it helped my mental state knowing that, like, okay, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
There's the oasis, or I have 6 weeks to go and then we have a trip, or
right, whatever it might be. And there's little milestones in between. Okay, there was Thanksgiving Eve, and then there's Christmas, and then it was like, all right, now I'm 2 weeks out, you know?
Right.
And like, so setting things up like that, you're more like I said, calendar oriented. I was more like goal oriented, where it'd be like runs.
Yeah.
And scheduling things differently in that way.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out what works for you.
I think the other thing too is if you're struggling so much and you're not making enough money from DJing, like maybe you have to get another job, you know? Like, and then getting another job would allow you to take only the right gigs that pay the right amount of money, and you're not killing yourself making whatever, some shitty number for 6 hours. And it's like, you know, you have that day job to fall back on to keep you financially okay. And then you take the right gigs, and then the off nights you have on the weekend, you could go network at the places you do want to work, you know?
Even if you're just falling short, take a part-time gig. Million places are hiring right now.
Everybody is hiring right now.
Everybody.
Especially in nightlife.
You don't necessarily have an excuse where you're falling short. Like if you're just DJing on the weekends, like you can work part-time.
Go Uber, because I can't even take Ubers anymore because they're double what they used to be each way.
This could be a whole segment, because it took me an hour on Sunday to get an Uber.
It's bad.
An hour. I was on Lyft and Uber. I couldn't get to my gig. I was like a half hour late to my gig. And I was like, I couldn't get an Uber out here.
It's bad, and it's expensive. There's no drivers. It's a struggle.
So that's always an option, guys.
They got to be making a lot more money than they used to.
Yeah, I mean, with the limited amount of guys that they have out there, for sure. But yeah, I mean, guys, just figure out what works for you, and you know, and take care of yourself. It's because if you're sick and you're not well, like you can't go make money on the weekend.
Right. What's worse than going to DJ when you have like some sort of head cold or chest cold? Like that shit is the worst. No voice.
I've tried to DJ with the flu, like all types of stuff.
Worst.
And it's like you're running in the bathroom every 10 minutes, and it's just like not good. Like, but we have jobs where it's like, if you don't show up, you can lose your job for good, you know, and that's overlooked too. You know, that you do have to play hurt once in a while.
How many times do you think you've like called out sick for gigs? I feel like I can count them on one hand, maybe two hands.
Once?
Yeah.
Maybe once. I would go, this is extreme. I went to work, like my grandmother died. I went to work.
Yeah. I mean, my dad died. I went to work too.
Yeah. Like, right. Like you didn't know.
But I needed that as like a way to kind of release some emotion and just feel normal for a little while, you know?
But that's like one of those things, like you don't know it's going to happen. And then it happens. And then like, if it's on a gig night, like you're like, well, I kind of got to show up. Like there's not, they would understand if you called out and they got stuck.
Yeah.
Obviously. I'm not saying that a venue wouldn't understand. They absolutely would. But like sometimes you just got to show up. You know, it's crazy. People don't think about that. It's one thing that is completely overlooked in our industry is the fact that if the DJ doesn't show up, it could be he could never get booked again. I don't know. Is that extreme?
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I don't know, from our aspect of booking DJs, it's rare that somebody just doesn't show up. I mean, it's happened before, but
yeah. But I think there is that when you're self-employed like this, you know, I got to be there.
Yeah.
You know,
something that, that I've been not struggling with, but realizing that I need to kind of draw some lines in the sand is like, now that I am back to work, all these people had all this access to me during pandemic time, and like my family and like even my girlfriend. It's like really important to have conversations with them to explain how busy we are again. And that like, there's certain things that for me, I need to do in order to be able to go do everything we do. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think just to like put a bow on this life management conversation, I think the biggest thing is like, make sure to have conversations with the people that are most important to you and like talk through it. Talk about your schedule to your girl on every other week or whatever it might be, just so they're aware. Plan some shit to do, you know?
Yeah. Listen,
make sure you're going to see your parents or your brothers and sisters or whatever.
You can't put 100% in every basket.
No.
Remember that, right? And you have to learn how to balance it in a way that makes your loved ones happy, that makes you happy, and maintains your healthy lifestyle, or at least, you know, your mental health and everything else. So just remember, because because if you think that you can give 100% to all aspects of these things,
yeah, no way.
It's just going to tear you apart at the end of it. And
I think if 1 week something you're lacking in one of those areas, the next week you need to put more time into that area. So whether it's, you know, your family or your self-care or whatever it is,
right,
just realize what's being neglected a little bit. And then next week, make sure you make it a point to take care of that aspect.
For sure. I think all valid points. And definitely something good for everybody to think about as we get busier.
Yeah, I think this pod's been like a ton of coaching and stuff that we talk about in Get Down University, and like, but it's all relevant again, right? This is all stuff that we're all dealing with right now. And I think if you and I can share some things that have helped us get through some of these situations and help even one person, I think it's worth having the conversation. So
absolutely.
All right. So like I said, every episode I want to talk about where I'm going to be and just give you guys my schedule for the week. So this week I have Tally Ho Thursday. We were slammed by 10 p.m. last week, which is ridiculous. There was a line down the block. They stopped letting people in by like 11. So if you want to come to Tally Ho Thursday, get there early. It's fun.
That was a great night.
Come check it out.
I had a great time.
Friday, DJ's Happy Hour. I will be there from 4 to 8. Then I'm heading back to Hoboken to go rock out Wicked Wolf.
Wow.
Saturday afternoon, Wicked Wolf, 4 p.m. set. And then I'm at the Ashford in Jersey City at night. And then Sunday night, I believe I will be at 626. Big weekend.
Maybe a little Cream and Friends. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Sunday at 626 is going to be a lot of get down DJs and a lot of bouncing or back and forth and maybe some back-to-backs and some fun stuff. So
jealous about that.
Guys like Dramos and UFOso and Dario Valley and Angela the Kid and Tone Seta and whoever else might pop in. It could be a day over there. So
all right. I like it. I like it. Big weekend. And I'm relaxing, guys. I'm going to my day job.
You need it after this weekend, man. You didn't get a lot of sleep. You were traveling. You worked a lot.
Yeah, 6 hours sleep in 2 days was not good. But you know, power through.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. Real quick, we haven't really asked in a while, but if you guys enjoyed the show, please do us a favor. Go give us a review on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes, or wherever you listen to the show. It really, really greatly helps us. The more people that listen, you know, the more we can get our message out and hopefully help more DJs. So we would greatly appreciate if you guys could go drop us a 5-star review, or, you know, if you don't think it's 5 stars, that's okay too, but hopefully it's 5 stars. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week. We're coming up on episode 50. We want to do something special. So not sure what that's going to be yet, but we'll figure it out.
We got some ideas. And guys, if you just listen to this, you can also catch this on YouTube. Just in case you don't know, I know some people just have this subscribed to on their app, and maybe they're just listening. So you could go find us on, I don't know if it's / Get Down DJ Group. Just look up Get Down DJ Group on YouTube. And then the Get Down is right on there. A lot of the episodes are up. I forget where we started, but you can backlog pretty good here. So yeah, check that out.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Get Down. My name is Kareem.
Gary W.
Check you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.